Hi, beautiful soul. Welcome back to my channel. My name's Astara and I'm an angelic communicator and clairvoyant. And today we're going to do a deep dive into something that came up this week. And it was on my list to do as a video for you guys, but it was a bit intense. So I wondered if it would come up more in the Twin Flame Collective. And some of the readings I did this week, it did come up. So I'm going to share this with you. Obviously, I'm not going to share the reading because that's private, but I want to share my experience of what I had with this situation. So grab a cup of tea. Let's dive in. I want to talk about if there's a karmic relationship in your matrix twin's life. And a karmic can be anyone really, but it could also be the partner, the girlfriend or wife or ex-wife of your matrix twin. It could be even someone related to them. It could be anyone in their life, actually. But I'm going to talk about the karmic partner, the ex-wife of my twin. This came into my awareness as I was going through this process. Before I realized that they were actually my twin, I realized that this person, their energy was very off. And I began to realize that they were a person that harvests and collects other people's energy. Now, this is a thing. If you find this a little bit odd, then maybe this isn't the video for you. But if you are open to this idea, then stick with me because we're going to talk about energetic mimicry. We're going to talk about siphoning of energy. We're going to talk about fairy energy and fae energy and how people look for it and try and siphon it. And we're going to talk about destiny swapping a little bit here. It's unusual, but it goes on in the Twin Flame Collective. And it can be a very painful experience if you do come across this in your journey. So if you have felt that there's someone in your twin's life, maybe their karmic partner or a friend or someone in their family, someone with influence on them, you might notice that somehow your twin keeps going back to them, even though they've met you, and you can't work it out. Like, if they could be with you, why would they go back to that person? Why would they entertain that person? And this seems to be something that doesn't make any sense. And you kind of ask yourself, well, surely they realize that that person is not the kind of energy they should be with. But often they don't. And the key reason they don't is because sometimes there are people who are mimicking your energy. They're copying your energy. And unless your twin, your matrix twin, is very aligned, very awake, very aware, they may not know. There might be a hint enough there for them to feel it's you, for them to be moving towards you as part of their programming, but actually it's not you. Now, in this particular reading this week, I definitely saw that there was somebody pretending to be the twin and using her frequency, using her energy to create that dynamic to keep her twin hooked to them. And when I met my twin's karmic, she was definitely trying to keep me close, trying to keep me interested in her. And I realized that as a person, she was trying to siphon my energy. As time went on, I realized she was actually using my energy to glamour her energy, to cover her energy, so it felt like mine. Now, that's a really big statement, isn't it? And it took me a long time to get there to realize what was going on. And as soon as I did, I stopped this person siphoning my energy. So you may have felt that this is going on, but you may not know what to do about it because that person is like wearing a mask of your vibration or a hint of your vibration, enough to keep your twin hooked and confused. So let's talk about what's really happening and how to really remove this from anything that might be going on in that experience, how to spiritually break through this situation. Because it can be very, very frustrating. It can be like, well, why is my twin going there? Why isn't he coming to me? This is perhaps going to give you some understanding of this illusion. In the 3D matrix, energy operates for us on vibration and intention, but in the 3D matrix, you get a lot of glamoring. You get a lot of spell frequencies, spell work, a lot of interference. There is a general dream spell over many people in the mainstream, and many people are out of their hearts and out of alignment and cannot see things clearly. So your twin flame is existing in that matrix. And even though your twin flame connection exists on a higher dimensional frequency, because it's soul to soul recognition that transcends all of time, all of space, and any circumstance, you'll also notice that they are still trapped in this 3D matrix. So when your matrix twin is attracted to someone who's mimicking your energy, often they have absolutely no idea. And it's when they begin to wake up, maybe when they meet you, maybe when they have more presence with you, they begin to wake up more and they can begin to see that that person is not who they thought they were. the mask drops off, as we say. Also, it's important that that person is not still accessing your energy and using enough of it to keep your twin hooked. You'll notice that this strange behavior can feel like they are mimicking who you are, and they're able to do it sometimes using spell work. Sometimes these are just beings who are non-human and they're able to mimic, that's part of their survival mechanism, how they survive in the physical realm. And I've sometimes gone into situations and removed glamour from people because that's a spell, removed their glamour, and you can see they literally look like another person. Whereas before they can be shiny and bright, and we see it a lot, like in famous people, I think, use it a lot, where they look really shiny and they look really bright. It's not just the makeup, it's not just about that. They're actually using energy, and particularly fey energy, fairy energy gets used a lot. So this is the second part of this video. Even though I'm dressed different, we're on a different day, but I got halfway through and then the door rang and life got complicated. But I think it's really important to finish this video. We were talking about energy mimicry, how your twin flame can be confused by somebody else in their life, someone significant, using your energy frequency, mimicking your energy frequency enough to draw them in, to draw them towards that person. Now you've got to remember the matrix twin, often they're confused. Their receptors are a bit messed up. They're trying to work their way through a lot of confusion, illusion, and a lot of spell work. Listen to my other videos. You'll notice that there is a spell work video. It's worth listening to. So if you're wondering about this, these people, these beings can often be mimicking the energy, but they cannot mimic your light. They cannot embody your light. They might be able to mimic aspects of you, either with a resonance at a frequency level or by siphoning your energy. So the experience I had, they were actually trying to siphon my fairy energy, my fae energy. And if you want to understand about the fairies and the fae, they are these beautiful otherworldly beings that are all around us. And some of us have a lot of fairy energy, a lot of fae energy. And depending on our star grids and our star systems that we're from, we, carry a lot of this energy, and it helps us to do this kind of work and talk to the elemental realms. And if you have a lot of that energy, you'll notice that you're more likely to be siphoned and harvested by people who want that energy. So that's the whole thing. We can do a whole video on that and how a lot of our matrix has been built on the harvesting and using of fairy energy without their consent. That's one of the big things that we need to change in this world, is how that land energy, that beautiful fairy energy in the elemental beings in the landscape has been used and siphoned and harvested for nefarious means. Anyway, let's come back to this because it's important that we understand this. So it is possible that this could be happening. And I would say if you're coming across this video, it is worth looking for it. It is worth trying to work out, is that happening with your twin? So your twin may feel the resemblance, wanting to go towards that person, thinking they're you or believing they're you, because they're more instinctive. They are instinctively drawn to you as their divine feminine. So they may also feel that resemblance and misinterpret it as soul resonance, because they may not understand soul resonance yet. And it's actually a falsification of a frequency, a distortion in the energetic field. And they'll find out eventually, but it might keep them confused. I've had an experience with some clients that I did where their twin was with someone else and had left them and went to be with someone else. And it was quite obvious that that person was doing this. They were emitting a signal to their twin that was keeping them confused enough. There was enough glamour there to keep them hooked in. And all the awakened twin had to do was just keep clearing the energy, because what we're dealing with here is illusion. It's just another layer of illusion that needs to be cleared, that needs to be corrected because it's a distortive energy, and allow truth to be anchored. And you're the awakened twin, you're the original vibration. Your divine blueprint cannot be replaced, cannot be swapped, cannot be copied in its entirety. A hint of it might be just enough to confuse your twin, but actually you cannot be completely copied. It's just not going to happen. What I would suggest here, if it's happening, is identify it. If they're able to glean it off your field, then work out ways to stop that from happening. Call your energy back for you. You can affirm your own sovereignty. That might all work in your space. If it's happening in your twin space, Then you can also ask for a clearing of their energy, clearing illusion from your twin, allowing them to see things clearly. You might want to reclaim your energy for you and your twin, asking that you are in higher alignment with one another and that you release any cords, contracts, and distortions that are connected to false mimicry or glamour, and that divine truth, love, and purity remains in your field, in your perception, in your ability to see things clearly, and for them too. This can help just align you both back into your own space. Now, another way of doing this is also calling in divine helpers. This is actually how we did it when I was working with clients on Zoom, and we looked at working with a spirit of place and creating a certain vibration frequency that would allow a clearing so that no spell work could continue in a certain space, and that would help continually clear their twin of this energy until they became aware. They still need to go through a process, because the fact that they were already hooked into it without realizing means that they have to awaken again. They have to awaken another part of themselves to become aware of what is true and what is not true. What is the false illusion that they've been dealing with? What is it that is really in alignment with who they are? You can also seal your energy field with golden light if you're feeling you're being siphoned or your energy is being taken in any way. And this is the Christ light. This is the consciousness, the Christ codes. And actually, as Twin Flame Collective, you'll be brilliant at doing that because you are naturally aligned with this. And it is about an awakening of your divine template, so that the more you shine, the more you're able to transmute energetic interference into unconditional love, into light, and you're shining so brightly that your twin cannot help but be drawn towards you. This is one of the reasons why a lot of the awakened twins are told to focus on their soul work. They're told to move forward and not focus on their twin, because the more they can align their instrument, the more their twin will recognize them. You can also help with just keeping your twin's field clear, asking for clarity, bringing in protection for them if you feel they need it. The violet flame is always a very good and easy protection that you can do for yourself and others, and this will help them come out of that distortion eventually. Sometimes it can happen very quickly, but if they're very hooked in, they might take more time. If this work is appealing to you, then just know that when we do the Monday night meditations, the energy reset meditations, often we're clearing our energy field at a very high level in those meditations, and this will also clear anything like this out so that it's no longer distorting for you or your twin. We're all working on different levels here, and what people are dealing with is different. So just know that anything that comes up, if there are false cords on your twin and projections, then anytime you're working with the light, you're actually dissolving all of these things. And you'll notice that if your twin is affected by something like this, you might feel it on your body as like a heaviness or a tiredness, or you just might be aware that something's a bit off. If you do these clearing processes and help your own energetic field, often you can begin to then feel where someone's siphoning or where there's a spell or something in your aura, and you can just push it out. You can just ask for help from your guides and your angels, and you can just push it out. But to get there, it's like you need to really tune up your instrument and make sure that everything you're sensing and feeling, you're listening to and you're not dismissing. So you can feel lighter and freer and more centered if you're working continually with clearing your aura. The other thing is, you don't have to fight with the karmic or whoever is doing this. You don't have to fight with the interference. This creates a lot of stress in your energy system, and it's not actually good for you, and it may not be good for your twin. It may not be good for the harmony in your twin, because in this process, your twin might actually be choosing that person. And I know that's very painful, but until they come to the realization not to choose that person, that actually that person is making them ill and unwell and they're not good for them, then you're actually trying to persuade your twin, trying to influence your twin, trying to create an agenda around your twin, rather than just allowing them to go through their process in unconditional divine love and divine order as the divine feminine. One of the best things you can do is just embody your own divine essence, Clear up your energy field, make sure there's no siphoning goes on, and just asking for more clarity. Your twin and your higher self are already talking with one another. Your own actions, by not focusing on it, will help your twin's higher self to kick in and bring them out of it in its own way. You are moving beyond illusion here. We are moving through a matrix of illusion and trying to dissolve it. And this is just one of the parts that we have to navigate to get through this situation. So don't chase, don't try and prove, don't compare, just keep tending your light. I know it's annoying, I know it's frustrating, but you will naturally realign as the illusion dissolves. Beautiful divine feminines, note in this that your energy is sacred, your frequency is sacred. The fact that you recognized your twin so completely and utterly in alignment, you just need to wait for them to do the same. Anyone could have put anyone in front of you. And I keep saying I'll do a video on false twins, but once you've met your twin and you realize that all false twins, all the karmics were all kind of wrong, and you only know that by comparison, by contrast, don't we? That when we have something that is absolutely in alignment, we feel it so deeply that we cannot no longer stay in the illusion that another person could fit that match. Just know that no glamour spell, no energetic disguise can ever override the purity of divine connection. Stay in your truth and trust that this light, when you're shining it, will actually expose every false vibration. And that is true. If this message really fitted with you and it resonated, just know you can come and do a twin flame clarity session. We can look at things on an individual level and work out how to use energy tools to clear things out of your system. And know that you can always be protected in all situations. I'm actually about to run my energetic sovereignty course. I think it's next week, the last week in November. And we're going to do 5 weeks where we learn a different energetic tool every week. It's a very good course. People have really enjoyed it and it works really well. Just learning these tools, how to protect your energy. And it really begins to enact your process of building up your own power in the unseen realms. Okay, so thank you for sitting with me through this video, even with a little chop and change. It's been lovely to connect with you again, and I look forward to meeting you soon.